So Ethan Hawke is a low-key movie star who's come a long way since his days as a teenage heartthrob. Starring in this year's Boyhood, he's earning early Oscar buzz, playing a divorced dad struggling to raise his kids right. Drawing, of course, from his personal experiences. Tonight, the multi-talented actor opens up in an intimate interview. He talked to me about life, love, divorce, and surprising sources of happiness.
And all the time he's mumbling. What's he mumbling? Mumbling truth.
He was that fresh-faced teen in Dead Poets Society, 18-year-old Ethan Hawke, starring in his first film opposite the legendary Robin Williams.
To the moment we leave dying, it'll just cover your face as you wail and cry and scream.
Don't you forget this.
It was that intense teacher-student dynamic, both on and off the screen, that touches him to this very day.
I had a particular unique moment with him, you know, to have him as a teacher and this unique experience at Dead Poets Society, an experience that changed my life, right? What if I told you a story about this giant sea mammal?
Now, more than 25 years later, it's Hawke who's the father figure, playing a divorced dad in the new film Boyhood.
I mean, you think that's pretty magical, right?
Yeah.
It's a coming-of-age story unlike any other, filmed over 12 years using the same cast. Hawke's son, played by Eller Coltrane, morphs over time, from innocent child...
What are you, 2 years old? You don't want the bumpers. Life doesn't give you bumpers.
...to surly teen, to young man.
Funny thing for me is I've known this kid, Eller Coltrane, since he was 6 years old, and now he's going through the same experience I went through when I was 18, which is Dead Poets Society came out when I was 18.
Ready, Mason, and action.
To make it work, all the actors agreed to film every year for more than a decade. It's the passion project for famed director Richard Linklater and a talented cast of actors, including Patricia Arquette, who plays his ex-wife.
Say goodbye to that little attitude, okay? 'Cause we're not taking that in the car.
The first couple of years that we did it, it felt so experimental. I would tell people, oh, I'm going down to Austin. I'm, just going to do 1 or 2 scenes in this movie. What is it? Well, I don't know. It's going to come out in, 11 years.
What is it that you want from me, huh? What is it?
Back in the 90s, Hawke seemed destined for heartthrob blockbuster typecasting after playing Troy, the smoldering Gen Xer in Reality Bites.
And what I wanted to tell you was that I love you.
So you were offered all the superhero action type roles, and you kind of consciously went away from that.
I didn't know who I was. And if you get celebrated as a young person when you're not sure who you are, when you're still discovering yourself and people start heaping money and prizes, and it throws off your growth as a human being.
Instead, he took a more eclectic path, from Shakespearean actor to 2-time Oscar-nominated writer in Before Sunset and Before Midnight, to singer-songwriter in Boyhood.
The teacher says my son paints pictures of a family.
You're really like the Renaissance man. Is there anything you can't do? Tell me you're really bad in bed.
I'm not really bad in bed. I wish I could say that. Unfortunately, it's an area in which I excel.
I see, thank you. I appreciate that. The women out there are going nuts now.
He and his lucky wife, Ryan Shahuz Hawke, have been married now for more than 6 years and have 2 young daughters.
What makes our family work is you can't have one person be creative inside a couple and traveling a lot and expect to have a home life if somebody isn't taking care of a sense of balance.
He may be happily married in his real life, but in Boyhood, Hawke says he draws on the turmoil from when his first marriage crumbled. It was like catnip for the tabloids. He first met Uma Thurman on the set of the sci-fi thriller Gattaca.
I had this crazy idea that you were more interested in the murder case than me.
They were married for 5 years with 2 kids.
Was it hard to go through it publicly? Yes. Yes, that is where the rubber meets the road, What I tell my kids, what I tell myself, is that these are the moments that define us, and that we're not defined by what's easy in our life.
When the couple separated, his daughter Maya was just 5 years old.
It was really hard for her. And now she's a junior in high school and she helps her friends. She ain't the only one anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
And so
Let me tell you what's gonna happen.
Yeah, okay. Well, tell your mom this. Okay. Are you seeing a therapist? Okay. Is it a good therapist?
In an effort to be a more hands-on dad, he often turned back to the theater, most recently playing Macbeth at New York's Lincoln Center.
And that's a big thing about the theater that I also love, is that it lets me do something that I love and be at home.
He's a movie star who wrote a serious novel and courted serious roles in gutsy movies, like his performance in Training Day opposite Denzel Washington.
If I was a dealer, you'd be dead by now.
That was kind of the start of my adult relationship to acting. That was a big deal for me, working with Denzel. That was as big a deal, in a way, as Dead Poets Society had been.
And it earned him an Oscar nomination. Despite all his success, Hawke says he began quietly suffering from heart-stopping stage fright.
I've professionally acted since I was 13. Yeah. And here I was, like 40, 41, having full-blown panic attacks before I went on stage. And it had always been so easy.
What did that feel like? What did the panic?
It felt awful.
I bet.
Most people should be a lot more nervous.
But it all changed at a dinner party after sitting next to Seymour Bernstein, a concert pianist who gave up performing at the height of his career to teach. The two shared the same dark secret, performance anxiety. And it was Seymour who soothed Hawke's anxieties. So he and his wife teamed up to produce a documentary about his accidental life coach.
You will get nervous when you learn how to act.
His reaction was very funny, which is he thought all this was great news. He said,
why?
Because more artists should be more nervous.
That was his.
Yeah, he said more people should be extremely. It's important.
It's important to be nervous. He says that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's important to care about what you do.
The low-key actor just moved to Brooklyn and considers himself a regular dad, even dropping his kids off at school, which we see play out in Boyhood.
Talk to me. Samantha, how was your week? I don't know, Dad, it was kind of tough. Billy and Ellen broke up, and Ellen's kind of mad at me because she saw me talking to Billy in the cafeteria. And you
his
remember that
art,
sculpture I was working on?
imitating
Well,
his life.
And I also love drop-off. Like, I have this really fancy new bike that I can get both kids in the back of.
Oh my gosh, no!
So I can ride them, both the little ones, to school.
For him, fatherhood has been the role of a lifetime.
A lot of things happened in my life over the last decade, but there's only one thing that has really been consistent, and that's